Yes, welcome back. Unfortunately, not too many people left, but that's always in the afternoon a little difficult. We now come to the harvesting session. Just a short summary of what you experienced at your World Café rounds. We will start with World Café number 1. That is Dirk Nipprasch. Maybe you just tell us a few words. I give you the mic. Yeah, I don't know. Is it part of the stream? It might be part of the stream, so then that's better. Sorry? There's a recording, and in the app you can then, see it. Yes. Sure.
Topic is not here, but one of the topic is how to foster collaboration in a matrix organization, and what are the key barriers for effective collaboration. How can leader establish a robust network? What roles does social interconnectivity plays in such a network? And how can leaders contribute to the network? And so we find out the key takeaways if you work in a matrix organization and you work in a network and you have to solve your, but you have to go through your projects and have a lot of challenges. First main item is main key takeaway is to have shared goals for such a networking, to have shared KPIs and a shared vision. And what is really necessary is to have good communication with the team, and you should also take care of the human resistance and the lack of belongings. So what we discussed is sometimes we discovered in the teams that the people really avoid or have resistance, avoid change, and so this is something we should take care of it. Also avoidance of silos. Yeah, mostly people come from other sides and then they are maybe in some silo. This would be nice to open the silos if you have corporate functions which are responsible for the projects, so they can have take a broader leadership for all the people from the sites as well. And what is good to have a knowledge ambassador, also to have a wording of best practice sharing in network rounds. You should always be structured, so have an agenda for your meetings, have minutes for your meetings, use web tools like collaboration tools, or other tools for knowledge management. We should try to be more flexible. We should learn from other industry as well. So the pharma industry is very regulated. So we always hear, it's not possible because it's GMP. Yeah. So we should be more open on that, and also to find solution, be more solution oriented. Sometimes we stick on regulatory stuff, not to think to the left or to the right. That's what we have, and always we should take appreciation for good contributors in the team, so that the team have also some good, or to work in a good atmosphere in the team, and also to sometimes have a monetary rewarding for good contribution as well. So, okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dirk. Then we come to the next World Café of Jürgen.
Thank you very much. So I presented a case study in regard to F-gases, and F-gas regulation will impact our industry. So what I learned in the last 2 days, it's not an actual topic. In pharmaceutical industry, there's too much change. There's too much disruption. AI and data and MES is overloading probably the people. sustainability is not on the top 5. That's what I take home for today. I asked some questions, and I asked what is the potential challenge by F-gas regulation. As we see, the prices of F-gases increased already to 1,500%, but it does not really impact the assets in regard to the overall asset costs and operation OPEX costs. Therefore, it is not that actual as I expected. Then I asked, what about the preparedness in regard to asset strategies? Are there already strategy in place to face these challenges? What I learned that it is simplified actually. You go either by LN2 or you remain on your assets. As I met a lot of small companies, they are facing really reactive challenges, and there's still a fear in the industry that too high capex investments could risk their sites, and therefore no one would like to go into risk-driven innovations, as we did probably the last 15 years. It's very important to know and to learn, but I'm sure that a lot of people will keep it in mind, and the moment in the next 3 to 5 years will arise where someone will remember, hey, there was a guy talking about F-gases and PFAS, and probably you find the leap innovations with natural gases. Then I ask, how might collaboration with suppliers, regulatory bodies, and technology providers influence these strategies? As no one is aware, so I did not meet anyone who was tackling this issue. So of course there are lots of possibilities. You can go into innovation, but they are really capex related, so you really need to invest for future, where no one has the security that these investments comes to a good end, and you will profit by the low OPEX costs of, for example, air as a refrigerant. As no one is aware about this discussion, no one is actively discussing with regulatory bodies if there could be any change in this process. Especially when I listened carefully in the relevance and impact of assets in the pharmaceutical industry, the factor is not that driving. Yeah? There are other industries, they have much more impact, and they will drive this discussion probably with regulatory bodies. And at the end, I ask about further innovations. So we know that there are more innovations that we applied yet. For example, magnetic refrigeration or electrical refrigeration, so we have no experience about that. But I learned no other did it either. So that's an important learning, and I'm looking for further sustainability networks to place properly the topic to get more response. Thanks for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Jürgen. Then we come to Esther, as Maja Lazarova. She had to leave to Skopje taking her flight. So we come to you, Esther, next, and then to Florian Werner as the final sum up. I will look for the next speaker, so please excuse me for a few minutes.
So I will hide behind the table. because so I can read the stuff. I made a photo of our wall. So the topic of our discussion of our cafe was how we can actually leverage technology, which is emerging very fast, beyond just digitizing its existing processes. So flatly speaking, just paper on glass, how far will that get us? But what can we do to reach actually more and make some more value out of the things we are doing? And yeah, I will go from the left, from the challenges to the right. So funny enough, we talked a lot about organizational challenges in our sessions, not so much about technical or technology challenges that we have. So it was a lot about lack of confidence, communication, that there's not enough know-how, and we have also changing people, like leaving the company or coming from other departments, speaking different languages in different departments. So one can actually not relate to what other people are telling them. So there was a lot about that. Technology, we did have a few points. For example, that there are sometimes no standard processes. The solutions and the data, talked obviously a lot about data, is siloed. So people cannot access the information or make the connections between the data that exists in different parts of the company. And yeah, still, unfortunately, a lot of data on paper. Yeah, so quite a few companies, at least that I know, didn't make the transition from paper to glass yet, even. So there's a lot of data still exists in that form. Yeah, ideas and solutions. I mean, use AI, obviously, which is now the topic of the time, I guess. A lot of people talk about AI. You have to use maybe to tackle the different languages, to use or create a dictionary for the different departments so that they can actually understand each other's. We talked a lot about frameworks and structured approaches, so that we can actually, have a common understanding of what we do and how we are doing it. Training and education is important, not only on the topics like AI itself, but also on the processes that we are doing, because we had one participant who actually said, okay, we are producing the same in 5 different plants, but everybody does it differently. So there needs to be some standardization on that. And also it needs to be monitored and clear on the performance. Yeah, there needs to be a value stream mapping, for instance, so that everybody's clear on why we are doing certain things the way we do it. Yeah. Key takeaways. A big key takeaway is that AI will have a part, and it will be a growing part in what we do. That we need this structure, but we still, right now, maybe not anymore in the future, need some human interaction, because a lot of the decisions are prepared by AI, but in the end, humans will still take the final say, the final decision. On one side, more on a strategic side, we said we need a top-down approach, basically from a C-level, a strategic level, that they give a guidance on what needs to be done, but more on the bottom side, an agile approach is effective. Yeah, make knowledge available and accessible. We can't have these silos and these different languages. One interesting point, again, from an organizational point of view, we put take care of your people to prevent people leaving the company and you lose the know-how then in your company. Yeah, I think those are the main aspects, and I leave it like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So my World Cafés sessions were about one of the main topics of this conference as well, about AI and how we turn the AI hype into real value on the shop floor. So how do we come from the ideas of AI to the implementation in the organization? We started our conversation by having all the participants first estimate what do you think the potential value or the actual value of AI will be in your company, from no value to very high to and business critical. And it was quite interesting that, well, almost all companies said it's high value up to business critical value. So we have to tackle AI, think what AI can do for us. And I think one participant even said, well, there will be no efficient pharma in the future without AI. There will be the companies which will adopt AI, will get more efficient. We also heard it yesterday in the talks, where just one AI introduction raised the efficiency by 7%, where normally you get like 0.01, 0.02% per year. So this will have high impact. But then we estimated the adoption or implementation degree of AI currently at the firms, and this is, well, somewhere between. We still have to find the use cases up to, well, we have the first models, but we still haven't really fully validated it. So we are still very far from the full implementation into AI, and this will be a journey for the next years. And then we discussed, well, what are the main challenges or the main problems currently in the adoption of AI. So when it comes to use case identification, we found some solutions like, well, we should always have this value-first approach. So what are the value-added use cases which we can use? For this, typically, it helps to have conversations, well, with the people who will add the value. So the workers, the users, management, IT, who can then also create the systems for that. So have cross-functional teams, have conversations. There are methods for that, like design thinking methods and also guidance from management. I think this is very important, that management commits for AI and tells the teams this is a vision where we want to go, and we give you the freedom and the time to find the use cases and set up the roadmaps and set up projects for that. So value-first approach or problem-first approach, find the solutions, don't start with the technology, start with the problems. Sometimes even we had a few cases where they say, well, we want to use AI, but we don't even have like digitization yet. Of course, then this is time now to start maybe thinking about this digitization first before you go to AI, because without digitization, without data integration, data quality assurance in systems, data flows, you cannot have AI. This is something, of course, which will be one of the main drivers also for digitization maybe in some companies. And then one of the big problems, especially when it comes to use case identification and then implementation, is GMP compliance. I mean, we had this discussions also yesterday already. If a black box AI gives you some recommendations, still a human currently has to make the final decisions, needs to be accountable. This probably won't change in the next few months, but I mean, this will be coming at some point. So there will be regulatory updates, and we should not hide before, wait for these updates. We can already start thinking about solutions, agentic AI in GMP compliant contexts, because at some point we will have this regulatory updates. It's like with driving cars, because if we don't, other companies, other countries, other continents will go ahead and have these efficiency gains because they are more free there. And of course, we still need to be responsible, but we can be, because AI also has the possibility to make well-informed decisions, make traceable decisions. And I think this is now the time also to think about that and have also the conversations with regulatory. Maybe set up a POC together with some representatives to start this discussion there. Because again, we need AI for efficient pharma in the future. And when it then comes to implementing AI, when we have to use case the ideas, it's not only the technical point of view, of course, we have to think about ML ops. We have to retrain models automatically or be able to do that, automatically validate models to change control systems. And for that, I mean, the solutions on the technical side are there. We just we shouldn't forget them. It's like ML ops systems. It's the IT sites which already have ideas on that, but it's especially an organizational change and transformation. Like the digitization, we need to think about the people who are involved. We need to tackle human resistance probably with transparency, with maybe giving them appetite for innovation, maybe also tackling their laziness. You don't need to do the boring tasks anymore. You can do the value-added, interesting tasks. And by that, going into the future, getting an AI-ready, AI-driven company by that. Thank you.